Santos at the wall. Gone. Wow. Second game in a row. The Pirates have hit a grand slam, and this time it's the former Giant. He absolutely crushed it.
Now, back to Willard and Dibs on 95.7 The Game.
Hey, buck up, Flem. It's also the second game in a row where they blew it.
Oh, my God.
Way to go, buckos.
Right?
You blew it.
It's crazy.
What a series.
What a day. And yesterday was the same. We didn't get a chance to really talk about yesterday, which was...
Oh, no.
I don't know which one was more mind-boggling. Yesterday's comeback or today's comeback. They were very similar.
Today, if you're asking me which one's more surprising, yesterday they had more time. It's like a run here, a couple runs there.
The slam came early, right? It was 5-0 in like the
5-1 in the fourth,
okay.
or the fourth, I think. And then, but they got all the way to like the eighth, and they're still sitting there.
Right.
I think Ramos maybe homered in the seventh
to make it 5-2.
5-2.
Yep.
And then, next thing, and then they fell down 6-2. I forgot about the Reynolds homered again.
That's right.
Hey, Luke Jackson, try to keep up, okay?
Oh, boy.
Good Lord. So anyway, then it's 6-2, and then in the blink of an eye, an eighth-inning rally for 5 runs makes it 7-6. And Joey Bart's Pirates have lost the game again. Here's what I wanted to pass along. I was watching an interview with Bart in the clubhouse. Boop, boop. They asked all the right questions. You start by going, hey, tell us about how that felt, Oh, gosh, to catch up to a high fastball, blah, 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 like swing feels good. That was a great moment. Grand slam, tons of fun. All right. Hey, Joey. How did it feel that it came against the Giants? And Joey, who is not like that, said all the right things, but what I observed is you should try to go find the video of it.
Okay.
And go see the smirk behind his eyes as he says, no, look, it's just, any grand slam, I don't care who it comes against. It's great, but as they're asking the question, there's this little grin. And by the way, I do not begrudge him for this at all. There's a little grin behind the eyes when they're asking him about doing it against the Giants, where he was just like, of course, he's a human being. So there was some mofos in that run around the bases.
Yeah, there was.
For sure. And Joey Bart might end up being the one that got away. You're not too upset about it because your starting catcher looks like a star.
Right.
But the backup catcher who you signed to relatively decent 2-year money is hurt and was not performing well when he was healthy. And Joey is not like a 100% starting catcher. He's platooning or whatever there in Pittsburgh. So
right.
Would he have been able to accept a bench role? His OPS is almost 900. He's hitting 270. He's got 5 bombs. He's playing great. Now, he kind of blew the game behind the plate with his catching a little bit.
Well,
but, that happens.
And he did get ejected from the ball game.
He did?
Oh, yeah.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, he
When
got
did
ejected in between innings, apparently. He was.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, I didn't see it, but I heard about it. And all of a sudden, Yasmani Grandal is behind home plate because apparently after he got called out on a check swing strikeout, he had words for the first base umpire. And, you can't do that anymore. You can't voice displeasure with talking. Umpires.
Yes.
So you're gone. And I think he's got 4 home runs in 60 at-bats.
Yeah, no, he looks fantastic. He looks like a different player.
4 homers and 60 ABs is the number. And so have a day, Joey Bart. You hit a slam against your former team, and that was probably the biggest Bart delay of the day, was his trip around the bases.
Yeah.
Thank you, Grandy.
It took a moment.
Yeah, he took more than a moment. The Bart train is going to be late getting to first base. That train was running behind schedule because he took that moment. It was a no-doubter, and he hit it, and you could see him kind of like, yeah.
Yeah, he sniffed.
Big sniff.
He should.
Of course.
Good for him.
And I want more of that in baseball. I think we all do.
Sure, absolutely. I'll tell you what else I want more of. And we can't, we're going to talk about Luciano here in just a second, and we're going to go to the phones because it's super interesting. But my God, if you did not watch Matt Chapman play baseball for the last 3 innings of this game, you missed restaurant quality baseball. And I mean all around the diamond. That guy, for anybody, I realize he's hot now. It's been a long road, bumpy start, whatever. But first of all, the 5-run rally started with him hitting a 3-run homer on a fastball at his chest. So you can go ahead and take Tim Kirkjian's collision hitter quote from our show and also throw that one away today because he went up and got one at his letters and took it over the center field fence for a 3-run homer in a spot where I literally sat out here in the lobby at Odyssey San Francisco because it was like bingo, bingo. They're down 6-2, a couple of base hits to start the inning. I go, they need someone to walk up right now and hit a 3-run homer. And Matt Chapman's like, me, I'll raise my hand.
Pick me.
3-run bomb. Then you've got to have a shutdown inning in the bottom of the 8th. 2 of the 3 outs were A-plus defensive plays by Chapman over at third base. He's fantastic. He's not always great. He can be streaky. I get it. But, that's different now. That's different than anything that Flores or J.D. Davis or Casey Schmidt or anything has looked like over at third base for some time now for the Giants. If you haven't watched Matt Chapman for the last couple of weeks, you're missing out on what, like the Giants have got. That he has looked like a cornerstone player over the last couple of weeks.
Over the last week, his batting average has gone from 206 to 249. Mm-hmm. He is 13 for 23 since May 15th, which is 6 games. 13 for 23.
And how many walks, by the way?
3 home runs and 8 driven in. And over that time, he has walked 5 times.
Yeah, he's getting on base like a machine.
Every time. And against Colorado, he was 4 for 4 with 4 runs scored.
Right.
6 total bases. And just against Pittsburgh, 2 for 5, 1 for 3, 2 for 5, 15 total bases, 3 homes runs, 6 runs batted in.
Dude.
And the thing about Matt Chapman, Chappie as we call him,
Chappie,
is even when he was hitting 206, and I'm going back, I see a 205, I see a 204 on the board, he doesn't bring it to the field with him.
Nope.
Which leads us to Marco Luciano.
Okay.
And I know he's a young player.
Let's talk about it.
And right now he's not bringing his bad glove to the plate. He's not bringing his good bat into the field. For me, he's little Bo Peep who's lost his sheep and doesn't know where to find him. He is not a shortstop, and I hate to pick on the kid. I just watch him play, and even when he makes the play, it looks awkward. And then again today, Mark, garden variety, can of corn, ground ball.
Garden variety. I want people to know if you if you were at the game, or I'm sorry, if you were at work and you didn't see the game, these 2 errors.
They're just ground balls.
They're the easiest ground balls you could possibly find in the big leagues. Right at you, not hard hit.
Right.
Bing, 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 bouncer.
Right.
Straight to you. And look.
And it's the way he's playing it, though, Mark. And they're
both in the 9th inning of close games.
Right. And it's the way he is retreating on these ground balls. He's not attacking them with confidence. It's hit to him, and you can kind of see the, and I hate to borrow from Stephen A. Smith and use the S word. It's like, oh, Schmidt, they hit it to me, and he's backing up, and he's caught between hops, and he doesn't know what to do. You're a shortstop, my friend, in the majors, in the 9th inning. These are plays that have to be made at this level.
I've got some ideas, but let's hear from you first, okay?
Please,
what do the Giants do with Luciano? And for those of you who didn't see it, again, he didn't even play today. He came in as a pinch runner. No, he
didn't even play, but he made an error.
He still made an error. No, but he was not. He was
he
not.
Didn't even play today.
This guy's making errors in the bathroom. No, he came in as a pinch runner in the 8th inning and was fantastic. Took advantage of 2 balls that just sort of rolled away from Joey Bart. Got to second, got to third, and then Brett Wisely, who did start at shortstop, gets a base hit to center field. Luciano comes in to score what was the winning run, but then he goes out into the field as a defensive replacement because they had to move Wisely to the outfield because they had pinch hit for Ryan McKenna. Like, all these moves started happening, and they had to put Wisely in the outfield. So who else can play shortstop? Well, okay, Luciano for the 9th inning. And lo and behold, it was almost like you knew it was coming. First batter.
Oh, God.
Boink, 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 right over to shortstop. Bonk, right off of his wrist. And it's a runner at first with no one out. Thankfully, next guy pops up, and then the guy tries to steal, and Bailey absolutely no.
Total Mattel.
I mean, he took him. I mean, it was a gorgeous throw.
Right.
Beautiful.
Luciano caught it.
He caught it.
And tagged the guy.
Tagged him, and then, boy, celebrated because he's like, thank you. Thank you, Patrick.
And Luciano gets the put out there, right?
He sure does.
And
sure does.
And Bailey gets the assist on the play. So good.
But what do? Chris in Sonoma, talk to us. You're on Willard and Dibs. Hi, Chris.
Good afternoon, fellas. How you doing?
Great, man.
So here's what I would do. Coach him up. He needs to be taught. He needs a lot of work on footwork. These are things that coaches are supposed to do with young players. I do not think the answer is to send him down and get reps, as they say in the minors. That's not going to get him better if he's not getting coached. The guy is a dynamic player. I see his footwork lacking, and it tells me he probably didn't play much basketball as a kid. But somebody needs to work with his feet. He will be fine. It's also now it's mental, which, as you guys know, in professional sports, it's 90% of it, but it's in his head now. So somebody needs to coach him up. They need to be patient. And, all week we've been reading different sports writers, and I think you guys might have mentioned it too on the radio, the comparison to Marcus Semien. Who did Marcus Semien have to make him a great shortstop?
Ron Washington.
There's got to be a Ron Washington-like coach in the system who can work with this young player and make him an elite shortstop, because I think he's got the tools. I really do.
So Chris,
that's my opinion for whatever it's worth.
Well, Chris, it's worth a lot. But here's my question back to you, which is, what would make you think that he's not being coached up? You know what I mean? Like, this is the number one prospect in the organization. He's been there for years. He's been there. He's been in the organization longer than Farhan Zaidi. And so there's a ton that is invested in this kid, and they have refused to move him to a new position. So I'm only assuming, but I can assume that somebody is following the kid around to whatever minor league team he's on and trying to coach him up, no?
Well, one would assume that, but one doesn't know, because he seems to be making the same mistakes. And so he's now at the big league level. Who is the infield coach for the Giants? Is it Ryan Christensen or is it Matt Williams?
Well, look, the fact that I don't even care if it's Matt Williams. Matt Williams is the third base coach, but Matt Williams is there. So, that would help. That's a guy who also came up as a shortstop and then transitioned over to third base, and that may be what ends up happening with Luciano someday. But I would think that he's a tremendous resource for him right now.
Yes, I would agree. So, like I say, I'm preaching patience, because, as you said, Mark, they've invested a lot in him. They obviously believe in him. At some point, you got to stop sending a guy down to the minors. Now, they did that with Williams. We remember his painful first couple of years, up and down, barely hitting at the Mendoza line, and eventually he became one of the best players in the major leagues. This kid's got it in him. I really believe it. Whether it's at short or somewhere else, but don't send him down. Keep him up, because you know what's happening now? We're now watching this team. Before about a week or 10 days ago, they were unwatchable. They were the most boring team in baseball. Now we're watching them.
Well, look, right? Chris, absolutely. And thank you, Chris. It's a great call. I mean, Dibs, wouldn't you agree? One way or another, some of them good, some of them bad. I think we just watched the most exciting series I've seen in 3 years of Giants baseball.
It was pretty exciting.
What is more? Now, yes, it started with what felt like debilitating absolute migraine headache of a finish on Tuesday night. But add in then what's happened next with a 5-run comeback and a 4-run comeback, and both of them called for the Giants to hit the ball a lot. And you had some tough bullpen performances, but some great bullpen performances. These games had everything.
Totally.
They had everything. So, and a big part of that is what these 3 young players are doing. Ramos homered today. If you don't know how the Giants won last night, they're down to their last strike with no one on base in the 9th inning. And Luis Matos lines one to the outfield and then takes advantage of lazy play in the outfield, turns a single into a double. Next thing you know, Wade gets a hit. We got a tie game.
Right.
Like that.
Just like that.
Oh, my gosh. Inject that into Giants fans' veins right now.
Athleticism and base running and, come from behind victories. And the fact that, again, they scored 7 runs today and they got down 5-1 and then they got down 6-2. And even as recently as a couple of weeks ago, down 6-2 against anybody, you would have figured, okay, this thing's over. But again, they put up a 5 spot in the 8th. And I was ready to come in today to talk about yesterday being the biggest win of the season and how huge that was, because you gave it away on Tuesday in the opener of the series, a game you never should have lost. And then you bounced back yesterday with a come-from-behind victory. And I was thinking on the way in today, kind of what our boss Matt Nahigian had tweeted about, wow, that was fun. That was the biggest win of the year. And then you have today's win, and you look at today, and you think, well, maybe this was the biggest win of the year on the heels of yesterday, which was almost a carbon copy, biggest win of the year kind of a ball game. And now you take 2 of 3 from Pittsburgh, where you could have lost all 3. You should have won all 3. You took 2 out of the 3. And the takeaway for me is this team is damn fun to watch again.
Well, it looks completely different.
That's the takeaway, I think.
It looks completely different.
Yeah.
The Giants are 1 game out in the wild card race.
Okay. I believe you.
And they are 0 games out in the loss column.
There you go. And it really, for me, it's not even about the wild card. Right now, the biggest battle that they're waging is the battle against 500. Can you just get to 500?
Well, one game back now.
Right.
Or 1 game off 500.
But you look at the last couple of days, and if you didn't win any of those games, you'd be 23-28, and we'd be feeling a lot differently about where they are. And I know it's not about the standings. A lot of this is about the excitement of the young players, the lows of Luciano, the highs of Matos and Ramos and Kyle Harrison. And there's a lot to be excited about, but 25-26, it's easier to be excited about that than if they would have gotten swept by Pittsburgh, right?
Here's the good news for anybody who's like, please, Chris was just saying, don't send him down. Don't send him down. Here's the good news. His OPS is 873.
Yeah.
And he ain't going anywhere.
Exactly.
As long as his OPS is 873, because if they do send him down, we riot.
Right.
No, I'm not kidding. No. I refuse. You are not allowed to send him down. You're not allowed to send him down.
I get that, but
figure it out. Whatever it is. Now, I have not lost my patience completely with Luciano at short yet. And there's a piece of me, Dibs, that wants to look at the Giants and go, you made your bed, now you sleep in it. Here's what I mean by that. You're the ones that over the last 2 years, with plenty of warning, have decided, no, he's still a shortstop.
Right.
Then you lie in it. You made the bed, you put him at short, and if the ball keeps bouncing off of his wrist, I'm going to look at you guys, not him, because you could have put him in left field or at third base 2 years ago, and you have decided, no, he's still a shortstop, and you could argue still that he's, quote, not ready, but I also am like, how's that even possible? The 2 balls that he's kicked, I was ready for in 5th grade.
Exactly.
So it's not that. It's not that he's just a rook and he's not ready to make the big-time play. Because, by the way, he makes the hard play.
It's the easy play that's costing him.
The easy one is dying, though.
So you made your bed and you got to lie in it, but if your bed is an incredibly uncomfortable futon, well, after a certain amount of sleeps in that bed, you got to find a different bed to sleep in, and I don't know how long you're going to wait to do this The problem is what you talked about. You've only done this. He's never played anywhere other than shortstop. You didn't even give him a dabble at second and a dollop in left. He's only played shortstop. So if you do want him here and you do want his bat, and I think that that's accurate, you really can't do anything other than play him at short.
I agree. I got an idea.
Okay.
But let's hang on. Richie in Queens. Hey, Richie. Thanks for calling. What's up?
Hey, guys. Hey, what a difference 8 games. I called you 8 days ago, right before the last Dodger game.
Yep.
Mark, I don't know if you remember, you were on a tirade.
I remember. I remember, Richie, and they're 6-1 since the tirade.
Absolutely, and I did tell you, and I did say to you, look, the thing that I really like is their starting pitching and their bullpen. They're studs at this point. This kid Rodriguez is going to be lights out.
I like him.
So everything that's happening now, and obviously Fleming said it today because I watched the game. I'm going this weekend. They're in New York, so I'll be at 2 of those games.
You better win them.
And at this point in time, the Mets, I just don't like a team that flops and then you're on a roll, and we should beat them. Look, we're not at that point. Let's just win games. But what we're seeing now, Chapman and Fleming said it. If you didn't know any better, he looks like the best player in baseball. What he put on was an absolute clinic, and we did talk, guys. It was only 7 games ago, and we both were on the same page, Mark. Well, we ripped the 3 of us. You had to rip him at that point because he was also making errors. So what he's done, the transformation and having these kids up, Matos almost made a great play. I don't know if you saw it because I know the show was
Yes.
Boy,
No. First inning.
Again.
First inning. He almost robbed McCutchen of the home run.
Yeah, it's just incredible to see. Obviously, Estrada's hitting. And the guy that's really under the radar is Wade. I mean, like you said, there's no way in heck that I thought they were going to win that game yesterday. There's 2 outs. This guy's throwing 93 miles and 98 miles an hour. And the thing that I loved about Matos is he busted it out of the box. And when that guy bobbled the ball, he was on second, and obviously Wade got the hit. So it's just incredible. And I did mention, it's a long season. I did not see this coming at this point. I don't want to say it's a small barometer, but what we're seeing is a real upside at this point. And the only couple real quick, the Hicks is a question mark. I think Hicks might have a tight arm. He only averaged 91 miles per hour.
We'll see.
Might make a turn with him.
Yep.
Thank you, Richie.
Yeah, Richie,
Hicks has got a very small shelf life. They're not going to let him throw more than 100 innings all year. They can't.
Well, they may, if Alex Cobb and Robbie Ray jump in, they may love having him down in the bullpen.
True.
They may love that. Maybe he could replace Luke Jackson.
Jeez.
Richie, you're welcome on the show to call him Luis Matos anytime you want.
I love it.